Customs. Overview. Customs is the place where passengers declare goods that are taxable to customs officers. Customs regulations vary from country to country, so it is important to check them before each trip. Permitted goods are those that are allowed, for example, clothes and personal belongings. Completely banned goods are prohibited goods that you must not bring in a country, such as unlicensed drugs, heroin, cocaine, LSD, offensive weapons, knives, swords, counterfeit goods, clothes, watches, DVDs, obscene material, films, magazines. Passengers who try to import banned goods will be legally prosecuted. Restricted goods are those that you can import if you have a license, such as firearms and explosives, animals, plants, meat, eggs, and milk. Allowance is the quantity of certain goods that is allowed to bring into a country. An example of allowance can be 1 liter of spirits or strong liqueurs or 200 cigarettes. People who are underage cannot be granted an allowance. If passengers have nothing to declare at the airport, they go through the green channel. If they have something to declare, they go to the red channel and pay customs duty.
Usually, if you travel with full-service airlines, you do not need to declare goods in your hold luggage, checked luggage, at a transfer airport, but only at your final destination airport. Also, usually while you're still on the plane, you will be given a form to fill in where you will answer questions connected to the customs. A flight attendant can help you if you do not understand something. Reading 1. Read the text about the UK customs regulations and answer the questions. Customs regulations. You can bring some goods from abroad without having to pay UK tax or duty as long as they're for your own use. This is commonly known as your personal allowance. The amount of goods you can bring in without paying tax or duty on them depends on where you're traveling from, if you're arriving in Great Britain, England, Wales, and Scotland, if you're arriving in Northern Ireland. If you have something to declare, go to the red point or to the red channel. Only go through the green, nothing to declare channel if you're sure you have no more than customs allowances and no prohibited, restricted, or commercial goods. If you arrive by air and are transferring to a flight to another EU country, you do not collect your whole luggage until you reach your final destination. At the transfer point, you only have to declare goods in your cabin luggage. At the final destination, you must declare goods in your hold baggage. This is usually the same if you're transferring to a UK domestic flight, but in some cases, customs must clear both your cabin baggage and your hold baggage at the transfer airport. The airline will tell you when this is necessary. Arriving in Great Britain. If you're traveling to Great Britain, England, Wales, or Scotland from outside the UK, your personal allowances mean you can bring in a certain amount of goods without paying tax or duty. When you are bringing in goods, you must transport them yourself, use them yourself, or give them away as a gift. If you go over your allowances, you must declare all your goods and pay tax and duty on all the goods of the same type in that category. You cannot combine allowances with other people to bring in more than your individual allowance. Alcohol allowance. How much you can bring depends on the type of drink. You can bring in beer, 42 liters, wine, not sparkling, 18 liters. You can also bring in either spirits and other liqueurs over 22% alcohol, 4 liters, fortified wine, for example port, sherry, sparkling wine and alcoholic drinks up to 20% alcohol, 9 liters. You can split this last allowance. For example, you could bring 4.5 liters of fortified wine and 2 liters of spirits, both half of your allowance. Tobacco allowance. You can bring in one from the following: 200 cigarettes, 100 cigarillos, 50 cigars, 250 grams tobacco, 200 sticks of tobacco for electronic heated tobacco devices. You can split this allowance, so you could bring in 100 cigarettes and 25 cigars, both half of your allowance. Alcohol and tobacco allowances if you're under 17. There are no personal allowances for tobacco or alcohol if you're under 17. You can bring alcohol and tobacco to the UK for your own use, but you must pay tax and duty on them before you arrive in the UK. Allowance for other goods. You can bring in other goods worth up to 390 British pounds or up to 270 pounds if you arrive by private plane or boat. If you go over your allowance, you pay tax and duty on the total value of the goods, not just the value above the allowance. Declaring goods to customs. Before crossing the UK border, you must tell the customs about, declare any goods where you go over your allowances that are banned or restricted. Banned and restricted goods. There are some goods you cannot bring into the UK. They'll be seized by customs. These include controlled drugs, offensive weapons, for example flick knives, self-defense sprays, for example pepper spray and CS gas, endangered animal and plant species, rough diamonds, indecent and obscene materials such as books, magazines, films and DVDs, personal imports of meat and dairy products from most non-EU countries. Some goods are restricted, like firearms, explosives and ammunition. You need a special license to bring them into the UK. Some food and plant products are also restricted if they are not free from pests and diseases, are not for your own use, were not grown in the EU. If you bring goods suspected of infringing intellectual property rights, for example, pirate copies of movies or music, they may be seized and you could be prosecuted. Answer the questions. Can you bring 10 liters of champagne when you arrive in the UK? Can you bring ham and kaymak from Serbia into the UK? Can you bring pirate copies of DVDs into the UK?